Hey, hold on. I see you reaching for that dislike button. Let's just be cool. Hands where I can see them. Hear me out first, and then after, if you still want to, you can smash that dislike button like Brian Thompson smashed that rejected stamp onto denied insurance claims. I understand everyone hates health insurance companies, and because it's such a deeply personal topic, it creates a lot of class ire in everybody's mind. Most Americans have either been screwed by the health insurance companies or know someone who has been. And while it might feel cathartic to celebrate the death of Brian Thompson, I think we need to be keenly aware of the social cost of everyone doing this together, because online, almost everyone, everywhere, is celebrating the assassination in their own special way.
There's so many deeply disturbed young men who just want to do violence, and they have no outlet for that violence to go to.
It kind of makes you wonder, what if they channeled that?
And that makes a lot of women want to fuck them. Have you seen this shit? Because a lot of women want to fuck this guy now. And you could probably get the same sort of attention from women on you if you did a similar thing. That's what makes it so scary. Things are so bad, man. Things are so bad, and these fucking people need to die, is what I would say if I was insane.
So this dude, big homie over here, okay, Mr. CEO, walking up to his hotel, okay, having a wonderful day. He's like, man, I can't wait to get a child with cancer, no coverage, so their family is saddled with medical debt. Just a regular old day for Mr. CEO. He's just like, do. Turns out he's up at 6 a.m. This was up at 4 a.m. He was like, oh yeah, you're up at 6 a.m. Guess what, dude? You're down at 6:30. Okay, that's what he said. Walks up to him. Bloom, blap, bloom.
Look, I'm not going to try to convince you to cry for Brian Thompson. I'm not asking you to consider his wife and children. I'm not asking you for empathy at all. I'm surely not going to be the one to get you to change your mind on this topic. But I am asking you to consider the societal cost of this mass celebration of political violence in the United States of America. Celebrating death is something that, I would argue, is cancerous to one's soul. To reiterate, I'm not asking anyone watching this video to care about Brian Thompson. I'm asking you to care about yourself and your country. I think it's toxic to the human spirit to be filled with malice and spite and schadenfreude, no matter how justified it is, and no matter how much dopamine and catharsis it releases in that 3-pound meat blob behind your eyes. Celebrating death is an acid to humanity, corroding our morality, dissolving what makes us truly human, and I don't think the solical cost is something people have thoroughly thought through and considered as to whether or not they can afford it. And look, I'm no friend to the health insurance companies or the drug companies. I made an entire video going into the downsides and corruption that's present in the pharmaceutical industry when it comes to treating depression and mental health. So I'm not coming at this from someone who would otherwise care about a healthcare CEO. But even if you don't believe me about hate being a corrosive agent that dissolves what makes you a human being at a fundamental level, even if you think this level of hate is justified and you're calling it justice and that I'm just pearl clutching, oh, won't somebody please think of the CEOs? I guess I'd be curious if you think this type of vigilantism spurred on by personal moral judgments is the society you want to live in. Tons of people hate Elon Musk. If you're watching this video, good chance you hate him too. Should someone cranium him as he leaves Twitter HQ? Are all billionaires on the chopping block? What about millionaires? Is it their net worth that makes them guilty, or their actions? If it's the net worth, what's the cutoff? If Brian Thompson made a paltry $2 million a year, would he still be eligible to being snuffed out of existence by an angry citizen? If it's the actions he took, precisely how involved does a person have to be to warrant a target on their back? If Brian Thompson denied only 5% of claims, would this still be okay? What if he wasn't a CEO, but was still involved in the industry? What about some middle management pencil pusher at Cardinal Health? Cardinal Health has a net worth of almost $30 billion. They deny a lot of claims. So if you think the CEOs are guilty enough to deserve a swift death with no trial, why not middle management? They are, after all, just more cogs in an evil machine. After the Affordable Health Care Act was passed, prior authorization processes were done to decide what medical services insurance companies had to pay. CVS Health, one of the largest health insurance providers in America, denied 13% of these requests for disabled people and seniors, way more than UnitedHealthcare, which denied 8.7%. So are we fine going after CVS Health too? What about anyone who works for CVS Health? They couldn't deny the claims they're denying without a whole system of people, from the people answering the phones to the people doing the audits to the accountants to the lawyers. So I guess I just want to know, who is it okay to take out? And perhaps, more importantly, who decides?
And you could see these people, these executives of whatever corporation you've decided to hate, just walking around with families and mortal bodies and wives and explodable heads and sins. Oh God, the sins that almost beg to be cleansed with fire.
And where do we stop? Political satirist Dreg mentions oil companies in the military-industrial complex, so they're fair game too? What about people working on oil rigs? Do we take them out as well? What about your boss that very probably screwed you and others over? What about the shareholders that make money off these systems? What about the CEO of Netflix for allowing cuties on the platform? What about Jeff Bezos for having deplorable working conditions at Amazon? What about Mr. Beast back when the internet found 100 reasons to hate him? Who decides who is a target? Are you a target?
So the first really concerning thing about this is the accessibility. I mean, all you really need to do to pull something like this off is like $400 for the pistol and an e-bike. That's all it takes to become a beloved anti-hero type character for Gen Z forever. So accessible. Like, you can literally Google these people's names and their addresses come up.
On November 27, 2015, Robert Deere walked into a Planned Parenthood center in Colorado Springs and took 3 lives. He said he was a warrior for the babies. I mean, if we're justifying and celebrating when evil people get assassinated, well, if you happen to be pro-life, an abortion clinic is the easiest justification you can find. If you're pro-life, a baby genocide is literally happening in this country, and abortion doctors become analogous to SS agents. But if you're pro-choice, the Supreme Court was fundamentally depriving women of rights over their own bodies. So then the pro-lifers can find justification to take out abortion doctors, and the pro-choicers can find justification to take out Samuel Alito. From a pro-trans view, Ron DeSantis could be eliminated. Hell, he's causing trans youth to unalive themselves after all. But from the reverse view, gender clinics that allow minors to get hormone replacement therapy could also be eliminated. Hell, they're transing the kids. So no matter what side of the trans issue you find yourself on, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to start choosing to take matters into your own hands. That is chaos. That is not a world of law and order and progress. That's the Wild West. And I think we need to carefully consider which direction this all leads in. Do you see the problem? Depending on your worldview, morality, and personal grievances, you can make an argument for doing this type of civil unrest for so many things. This is why we have courts. This is why we have the right to protest. This is why we have a right to a fair trial. If you're an Islamic fundamentalist, your key list of targets that you can probably justify attacking will be very different from a radical Marxist, which will in turn be very different from those of a Christian nationalist. Do we want to live in a society where people think it's based and cool to take the law into their own hands and assassinate whomever they have personally decided is guilty of death? That's not a society I want to live in. And if you put aside your legitimate rage at the healthcare insurance system in America, I think you'd agree with me. Look, I understand it's fun to be unhinged and say based and talk about revolution, but this would set us collectively back hundreds of years in our societal and moral development. We have ways to change things. We have freedom of speech, we have lobbying, we have the democratic process. There are tangible steps you can take to make a difference without resorting to barbarism and turning back the clock hundreds of years to a world of mob rule and vigilantism. Everyone can be guilty in someone's eyes, and hey, it's not insane to think that at some point you, too, dear viewer, could be deemed guilty by at least one unhinged person with a 3D printer and nothing to lose. This video Dreg posted is, in my opinion, irresponsible. And I really like Dreg's content, but this is too far, and as the comments show, his video is clearly being taken to be interpreted as giving tacit approval to the slang of the UnitedHealthcare CEO. People are clearly taking his video in a wink wink nudge nudge kind of way. Violence is bad, and these types of vigilante action will just beget more vigilante action, and we definitely don't want that.
I see a lot of reaction about this online, and I just want to remind everybody, this was a human man, okay? He had a family. Reveling in bloodshed can only lead to more bloodshed.
But this is also bringing up the mental illness of those who aren't happy with this video. I found this comment on a recent community post of his. Dreg, I don't like your CEO video, and I'm very tempted to make a video about it, even though I gave you so much grace in my last video on your appearance on Destiny. Violence makes me uncomfortable. I don't want a socialist revolution. You ever have a lot of coins in Mario Party and you land on a Bowser square, and then the wheel of choices spins and it lands on Bowser's Revolution, and that dumb green regard evenly disperses everyone's coins to every player equally? Well, guess what? Even though I don't have a lot of coins in real life, no one likes Bowser's Revolution. No one wants that Marxist BS. The only one I want taking great leaps forward is Mario, and only literally. So yeah, cool it with the ironic calls to revolution. Honestly, should be a TOS violation. A plague on your house. Oh wait, that's my comment. Never mind, ignore that. Well, I guess this is the aforementioned video I said I'd make. Ta-da! But what is my unhinged comment getting at? Well, I understand that when people are struggling, they want revolution. But this type of action just isn't the way to do it in 2024 America.
No, no, no! Current fucking day!
I know it's tempting to get blackpilled and think that change isn't happening, or if it is, it's happening too slow, but we've affected so much social change in this country. Women couldn't vote until the 19th Amendment was passed in 1920. Jim Crow laws were still on the books until the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The Affordable Care Act didn't happen until 2010. Gay marriage wasn't federally legal until 2015 with Obergefell. I could go on and on.
He immediately made things better. He immediately made things better, and we were told for in our entire lives that the only way to make things better is to vote and incrementally change things, which never fucking does anything. It never fucking does anything.
I get that we're dissatisfied with the healthcare system, and I get it's very easy to think, as Drag mentions, nothing ever changes. But this is nothing but doomer-pilled myopia. Things do change, things do move forward, and social progression does happen. It's so easy to spout off anarchist talking points when faced with so many corrupt systems and governments and corporations, but US history has clearly shown that people can affect change that they want to see. Sometimes it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but hey, according to my calculations, that's still a step forward. As I was making this video, I came across someone I honestly didn't expect to make such a good take, and in the face of an audience who overwhelmingly disagreed with him. Asmongold. I'll send us off with what I think is an excellent take from Asmon. And after, well, let me know what you think in the comments below.
I do think that it's very common that people on the internet have like these like internet vigilante, like revolutionary politics. Average normal people know that it's fucking insane to actually just go out and shoot somebody in cold blood. Like this is not a normal opinion that real people have. It's the same thing with the Unabomber. The things that the Unabomber said, some of them I agree with. I do. But I don't agree with blowing people up. It's really simple. You can agree with some because you're soft. Well, so are you. Everybody thinks that they're going to be a hard ass whenever they're sitting in their air-conditioned room and nobody is going to target them. Why would somebody not target you? See, you think that you're one of the good ones until somebody else decides you're not, and then they shoot you. You can't live in a world like that. That's insane. Come on, what are we doing?
Again, I'm not asking you to care about CEOs. To be clear, I'm asking if this is truly the kind of country you want to live in, and I want you to take that question seriously. Thanks for watching.